Big question tonight, was the lost colony really lost? Tales of the first English settlers disappearing from Roanoke Island have been shared for nearly a century, but now a new twist and a very old story.
America's Roanoke colony disappeared without a trace. It was established in the early days of the New World when a group of settlers arrived on an island off the coast of North America. They built homes, started farming, and created a small community. However, within 3 years, they vanished, never to be seen again. So, where did they go? New evidence might finally help solve this mystery. The Roanoke colony vanished in 1590. One expert claims to have found an answer. Even today, the fate of the missing settlers remains one of American history's biggest mysteries. The colony was growing when Governor John White left Roanoke to find supplies. By the time he returned, the rest of the settlers, including some of his own family, were missing. What happened to them? Did they die in a violent conflict with other groups fighting for control of the New World? Or did they starve while waiting for White to come back? Perhaps they survived and left Roanoke for a new place. The truth has been hard to find. Over the years, interest in the case faded, until now. In October 2020, a new chapter in this story started. The First Colony Foundation, a research group in North Carolina, found evidence that gives new insight into the settlers' fate. So, has the mystery of Roanoke finally been solved? The founding of Roanoke, England's bold gamble in the New World. Imagine this, it's May 1587, and a group of English pioneers set sail for Roanoke Island, a narrow strip of sand off the coast of what is now North Carolina. They are searching for a fresh start in the New World, but this is not uncharted territory. Just 2 years earlier, a first wave of settlers had attempted to establish a colony at the same spot, but faced disaster, with most fleeing back to England. Determined not to give up, this second group, consisting of about 115 individuals, men, women, and even infants, arrives in July under the leadership of John White, who had been part of the earlier failed attempt and is now the governor. Among the settlers is his daughter, Eleanor Dare, who is pregnant and poised to make history. Sure enough, on July 18th, she gives birth to Virginia Dare, the first English child born in North America. However, the joy is short-lived. Supplies quickly dwindle, and White has no choice but to sail back to England at the end of August to gather more resources, leaving his family and the colony behind. What should have been a quick round trip turns into a lengthy ordeal. Back in England, the threat of the Spanish Armada looms large, intent on invasion. White's request for help gets lost in the chaos. Although Drake's fleet eventually defeats the Armada in 1588, it takes 3 more years before White can return to Roanoke in 1590. When he arrives, he expects to find a thriving settlement, but instead, he encounters overgrown weeds, empty huts, and no sign of life. The colonists, including his granddaughter Virginia, have disappeared without a trace. There are no bodies or signs of a struggle, just 2 mysterious clues. The word Croatoan, carved into a post, and CRO, etched into a tree. What happened to them? Did they assimilate with local tribes? Did they perish in the wilderness? This remains one of America's oldest mysteries, still hinting at secrets hidden in the sand. The eerie clues left behind, the word Croatoan, and early theories. But hold on, those Roanoke settlers didn't just vanish into thin air without leaving a trace. Almost as legendary as the ghost town, it are the clues they left behind. John White spotted Croatoan carved boldly into a post, and nearby, a tree trunk was etched with CRO. There was no cross-marking distress, their pre-agreed signal, just those words staring back. Before White's crew could investigate further, a vicious storm hit, battering ships and forcing a desperate retreat to England. He spent the rest of his days fundraising for a return that never came, haunted by thoughts of his lost granddaughter and kin. So, what happened? Theories have circulated for centuries to explain the deserted outpost. The leading theory is that the settlers abandoned Roanoke for Croatoan Island, 50 miles to the southeast, which we now call Hatteras. The carvings seem to indicate this, right? But why would they flee there? Experts believe that their supplies ran low in that unfamiliar wilderness, leaving them desperate. Teaming up with the Hatteras natives would have been a smart move. Their local knowledge could have helped them stretch dwindling resources and turn potential enemies into allies. Some even suggest that White's group assimilated into the tribe, intermarrying for survival. This idea gained traction in the early 1700s when explorer John Lawson visited North Carolina and spoke with the Hatteras people. He was surprised to hear some claim mixed Caucasian ancestry, with grey eyes suggesting European lineage. Lawson believed their story completely. In his 1709 work, A New Voyage to Carolina, he wrote that the colonists, having given up hope for White's rescue, married into the tribe to secure their future in the New World. But that's just one narrative. Legends also tell of later settlers questioning a Powhatan chief who confessed to wiping them out, killing the Roanoke settlers to avoid tribal prophecies of foreign invaders. Dramatic? Absolutely. Evidence? Slim to none. What about Spanish rivals? In the 1930s, playwright Paul Green researched records indicating that Roanoke had been mapped in detail. Could they have attacked the undefended outpost? Or maybe the settlers, weary of waiting, sailed home on their own pinnace, with sailors skilled enough to navigate the Atlantic. If so, they could have vanished in mid-ocean, leaving no trace behind. For all the speculation, the mystery of Roanoke endures. There's no smoking gun, whispers from the trees. What happened to those 115 souls? The sand keeps its secrets. New discoveries. The 2012 map and excavations in Bertie County. Fast forward to 2012, when a fresh clue emerged from an old artifact at the British Museum. John White's 1585 La Virginia Pars map, which depicted early North American outposts, including Roanoke. A team from the First Colony Foundation closely examined the map and noticed two unusual patches of discoloration on the aged paper. When light was shone through, a hidden four-pointed star symbol was revealed beneath one patch, pointing to a fort site 50 miles northwest of Roanoke. Could this Site X be the missing link? It is located near an indigenous village, fitting the pattern of European settlements that often established themselves close to native territories for survival. In pursuit of this lead, archaeologist Nick Waugh and his team explored Bertie County, North Carolina, in 2015. While no fort walls were discovered, they unearthed over 20 pottery shards that indicated an English presence, aligning with findings from Roanoke digs. The area later saw Jamestown migrants in the 1600s, but these artifacts predate that era, suggesting earlier Europeans may have ventured inland, possibly Roanoke's refugees. Ground-penetrating radar, LiDAR, identified another hotspot 2 miles away, referred to as Site Y. Upon returning in December 2019 for further excavations, the team found ceramics from North Devon, Essex, and London, along with French and German stoneware. The artifacts included food jars, implying a settled group rather than merely trade items. Notably absent were clay pipes, which are characteristic of later Jamestown colonists. A representative from the First Colony Foundation told ArtNet in November 2020, "We are very confident that these excavations are linked to the Roanoke colonies. We have considered all reasonable possibilities and find nothing else that fits the evidence." But is the case closed? Not quite. East Carolina's Charles Ewan expressed skepticism to National Geographic. "I am doubtful. The First Colony Foundation appears to be looking to prove rather than disprove their theory, which is the scientific approach." Brett Riggs noted in a 2015 National Geographic discussion that the shards might have been discarded and later recovered by locals. Anything useful, they took back to their homes. They would have discarded what was not needed. Ivor Noel Hume, another excavator at Roanoke, pointed out challenges with the timeline. "I couldn't date the artifacts between 1590 and 1630. Did someone keep them for 6 weeks or 6 years? It is tough to know." Scott Dawson of the Croatoan Archaeological and Preservation Society disagrees. He noted that, according to historical records, Bertie was enemy territory, and that Croatoan was the intended relocation site. To ArtNet, he said, "It was the heart of enemy territory. It is the last place they would go. They literally wrote down that they relocated to Croatoan." Dawson's team supports this claim with evidence from 1998, a gold ring with 16th century English heraldry, which could be a family heirloom from Roanoke. Since 2009, digs at Cape Creek have yielded items such as a rapier sword fragment, copper ingots, and German stoneware, all from late 1500s soil layers. Mark Horton explained to National Geographic, "This wasn't useful for trade, but was owned by an educated European," referring to a slate marked with the letter M, indicating a personal connection. Ewan summarized the situation. "The jury is still out. We still don't know what happened, and we are waiting to be convinced. I don't think anything is off the table." William M. Kelso from Jamestown Rediscovery told ArtNet, "What has been found so far at Site Y in Bertie County appears to me to solve one of the greatest mysteries in early American history, the Odyssey of the Lost Colony. Is Roanoke's mystery solved, or is it still unfolding? The evidence yet to be uncovered may hold the truth." In an unrelated note, when an American bomber crashed into Sandwich Bay in 1943, its eerie wreck remained untouched for years. A coastal warden, curious about the site, approached and uncovered a haunting find. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.